Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're tuning in from, to the Divine Mess on our 17th episode. I am here with my very dear friend, Mr. Cody David Perriman. But before I kick over on his side, my name's Tina Marie and I'm a love coach. So I help men and women, should they choose to accept the adventure, of finding how they can love themselves better, how they can love the people around them better, and how they can love what they do more so than they do at the moment. And I just love doing life with other people. So that's my little bit of love for everybody this morning. And my dear friend across the other side of the screen will take his time to introduce himself. Here comes the hero's mystic.
Thank you for this really zen introduction, Tina. That's very rare from Tina.
It is. Considering I've had a coffee, I should be hyped, and I'm not. I'm feeling very chilled this morning.
Like very chill, Tina. So thank you for this introduction and welcome everyone. So we couldn't believe it that we were recording our 17th. And I'm Kirti Deva Perman. I'm the CEO and founder of the Heroes Mystic. It's a holistic life coach business where we help people to find their inner hero and take them on this adventure that we like to call the divine mess, which is life. And it's to find your true self. And today it's to continue our C series. If you have been following us, and if it's the first time, it doesn't matter. So today we had both.
Within 1 week, I started the snowball and my good mate followed up behind me.
Yeah.
But I haven't to mention, I think it was on the podcast, 3 weeks ago?
Yes.
I said that my life was very calm. You know what? Another C word, which I should never have mentioned. I should have just had quiet gratitude for the fact that everything was moving along swimmingly, because I think when you throw it out there, they want to test. So, of course, come a couple of weeks later, and I had 2 words: crisis and lack of confidence. So I did the only thing that I could do after staring at my computer for 2 hours going, I don't know what to say. I have got no idea how I'm meant to help. I'd spoken to a friend who was having a massive crisis of confidence. And as much as when I go into any conversation, I'm protecting myself and taking care of myself, it had a flow-on effect. And so then I started to look at myself and my business and going, what's the point? Who am I helping? Why am I doing this? Why am I putting this amount of stress on myself? I should just go get a job. Life would be easier. But I did the smart thing. The one smart thing I did on that day was that I messaged my dear friend and said to him, I'm going to throw my computer at the wall. I've had a gut full of this. I'm tired. I'm over it. I'm sick to death of trying to come up with something smart and witty to say every single day. And I got nothing. Tank's empty. And so he said to me, in his very delightful French way, Tina, you're not having a breakdown, you're having a breakthrough. So just cool your jets, right? Just take a deep breath and have a think about it. And so after having a long conversation and working out that my self-care practices were a bit shit, and I was, helping to take care of everybody and everything else except for myself. Mind you, I have been doing quite a bit of physical self-care in terms of my running practice, which is getting better slowly because it's being consistent, which makes the effort to change. But it's hard when you're sitting there and you're going, is this really my true purpose? Is this really what I'm meant to be doing? you know, and our ego and our brain gets in the way and makes us think all the things that we're not good enough, we don't have anything good to say, we should just really go and be like every other muggle in town and go and get a real job. And even though, you know, I've got 3, plus managing a house and kids and, you know, parents and all the things going on. And I had another friend going, holy shit, you got a lot on your plate. And I'm like, well, that's just life for me. That's what I'm used to doing. But I think the biggest thing is that we have to have people who see our potential when we don't. We have to have people who act as a mirror for what we're meant to be. And that's what my friend does for me. He holds that bright, shiny mirror up and sticks a spotlight on it and goes, you are heading in the right direction. You just need to breathe and take some time out for yourself and go and have a conversation with Margaret Mary and just get your shit sorted and pull up your big girl panties and move on. So after having that lovely conversation last Wednesday, I did that and I went to an event the next day and I felt like magic. I'm like, yep, this is what I'm meant to be doing. I feel really good. People are going, oh my God, you look so good. What's going on? I'm going, I'm taking care of myself. So it has been better. And I am just continually asking, is this how I'm meant to show up? Having those conversations with my grandmother and just seeing where she guides me next and knowing that, you know, it is for the highest and the best purpose for all, but it's only in the highest and best purpose for all if I take care of myself. So when we have crisis of confidence, we need to reach out to the people who love us the best and will deliver the hard concrete sandwich when we need it and say, toughen up, princess. It's not as bad as you're making it out to be. And then my delightful friend had one yesterday. So he told me about it this morning. So he's reached out this morning before we sat down and got started to go, I'm very frustrated with people being muggles, which was probably the gist of the whole conversation, wasn't it? Where people cannot see that they're placing their ego and their own self-importance in front of the outcome that is meant to happen. And it's hard when you can see that stuff and other people can't. You know, when do you choose to walk away from the nonsense? Mr. Perriman, when do you choose to walk away?
When you say I'm done.
Yeah,
Like
true.
It's like Tina's version when it reminded me of your speech. I think it's your signature talk for me. The way I look at it, it's like your signature. So for anyone who never listened, who have never heard Tina signature talk, it's when she decided to stand up for herself.
Yes.
And for her kids and for, I would say, like for everyone else, to stand up for her true self. Yeah. And say, I'm done. And that was hard for her as well. And this reminded me of this saying, I'm done. And it's reaching that point where you say, yeah, this is not me anymore. Like, can't take it anymore of this constant, I would say, attack, and it feels like the daggers coming to you. It always felt like it's going back for me. So my crisis of confidence came when it reminded me of my 10-year-old self. Like it went back to that moment when you're being like bullied or being in your mind, I would say, and by other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
that those voices come back, and it shows you that when you think you're done with the work, it's like, no,
Sorry,
there's
kid.
another layer. It's like, sorry, there's another layer. But this is what we do as inner work. So people believe that life coaches or mediums or whoever, like spiritual seekers, don't have any crisis of confidence. They believe that our life is all sorted because we got all the tools in the world.
Mm.
But like you said, like we can get all the tools in the world, but you need the community, the right community around you to
Yeah.
remind you that who you truly are. And I feel that over the weekend, I did found that through a couple of sessions. I forgot to share that with Tina because we were talking about the crisis of confidence as well, but it reminded me of my true self. And that's
Mm.
what I reminded myself constantly yesterday. And this happened through, like, it's another C word called channeling. And I don't know if anyone heard of that. It's not a new term in the spiritual world, but it's like you're connecting. For me, it's like you're connecting with the other world or your higher self or someone, just like
Like
Tina
the
did.
old dial-up,
Yeah.
when the internet just got started, you hear that beep, like the phone line
Yeah.
starting to wind up. Yeah.
And this happened over a couple of channeling session with another spiritual friend, and it reminded me who I was truly, like deep down.
Mm.
And I could see other forms of the higher self or the higher love, the divine love,
Mm.
and that what I that's what I did yesterday. When everything that happened, okay, I could see my 10-year-old self. And that's where the self-awareness is really important, where you can recognize it's not you. It's maybe your ego, maybe it's your mind, maybe it's that, like Tina like to say, whenever you go to a meeting or anywhere, just look at them as if they are 10-year-old or 11-year-old or 12-year-old. And I find that really interesting concept. And that's what I did. And I chose to see my light, even if it was hard for my human side,
Mm.
even if it was really challenging, and even if I didn't do the smart way and call my friend because she was working. But that was not smart either in that moment. But this morning we did have a chat and we did have the conversation, and I could see all these C words coming together. Like, you need the right community
Mm.
to have the right conversation that will boost your confidence
Yeah.
and elevate you from this crisis, because it's only the human that see the crisis.
It's the
Because
human that seeks the comparison, right? Because
yeah.
that was my thing last week, is that I was
Mm.
comparing who I am and what I offer to so many other people and going, I think it's the danger when we look at people on social media. We don't know if they're at day 1 or day 10,000. We don't know where they are in their journey. We're just seeing what we're seeing in front of us. And you're going, well, I'm not there yet, and we're not, as Gabby would call it, see it as driftwood and go, well, this is possible for me. The universe is showing me what's possible for me. But our humans get so caught up in I don't have that yet. No, I want that and I can't do that. And so we just go in this very quick spiral downwards. But it's our ability for, when you're doing the work, is the ability to catch yourself. Do you allow that spiral to go on for hours and hours and days and weeks and months, that you're constantly in this shitty downward spiral? Or do you catch it quickly and then go, I'm not in a good space. I need to reach out to someone. I need to have a conversation with someone to remind myself of the path that I'm on, that I'm choosing the right course of action, that I'm not cursing myself to, be in a space that just is not healthy, because normally the essence of what we do is allowing other people to voice their concerns of where they're at, their relationships, their life, the vision for what they hold. And 9 times out of 10, when they are verbalizing and using their throat, they're solving their own problems. We just sit and act as a sounding board, as a mirror, and go, okay, tell me more about that. So it's when we have a beautiful friend that sits on the other side of the phone and goes, well, tell me more, tell me why, and you end up going 6, 7, 8, 10 layers deep into why you're reacting in the way that you are, to go, yeah, thought I dealt with that. But we haven't.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I think Gabby talk about that, like Gabrielle Bernstein, one of our spiritual mentors that we talk a lot about in this podcast. She mentioned it as the comeback rate. So how quickly can you come back to your light? How quickly can you come back to the positive? It's not ignoring it. It's not ignoring what's happening. It's actually accepting whatever is going on within you where you're feeling it. And that's what I did. Like, okay, where I'm feeling the pain, where I'm feeling low, what I'm going to do to shift it. And that's where my tools come, like my toolkit, I take it I call it the toolkit. And that's where I go, oh, this can work in this moment. Maybe put on some music that will help me to boost, like I talk about the Sega music or something, like just to boost my happiness in that moment and shift me to happiness. Even if I'm not willing, like my human is like still not willing to do that. But I want to shift and I'm willing to shift. And that's the difference when you're willing to shift, because like you said, it can take you months or some people years to say, I'm willing, okay, I'm done. I'm willing to shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or to recognize it for what it is and go, oh, okay, I see that. But it's unless you have the right people around you, and we have moments where we forget our tools. We have an abundance of them. All the things that we coach and educate on, we forget. Don't think that we're superhuman people and that we've got our shit together, because sometimes we just don't, and we forget. Our meditation, our journaling, our dancing, our getting out in nature, hugging a tree, putting on essential oil, doing the things that we know bring us back to who we are. But we just act like the 5-year-old on the supermarket floor, throwing the arms and legs in the air because we can't get the chocolate that we want. But we're doing that in a grown-up form by thinking that we're going to pick up our computer and we're going to throw it against the wall and we're going to have a tantrum, and then 2 seconds later go, oh, shouldn't have done that. That wasn't the smartest course of action.
But this remind me of a TikTok video that I saw, I think yesterday or the day before, was a woman who videoed herself like she was literally crying in her hotel room. And it says like she's feeling down because she's moving back to her home country. She felt like a failure. And it was literally 1 hour after she was walking on a stage and talking to 400 women on entrepreneurship. And she looked so good and amazing. But she chose to shift herself, like to say, no, I'm willing to shift. Even if I'm feeling like that, it's okay and I can move on. But that tells you, she was talking about women resilience. And I find that in everyone, we do have that resilience. Because even if you're feeling like crap and you're waking up, that's a win. Even if you're opening your eyes, you're staying in bed, that's a win. Because you're willing to be alive, in that moment. You choose that moment.
It's
And
the,
it's
it's
a
the
choice.
choice you make, right? Isn't it? You know, every single moment that you take
Mm.
in going, okay, this feels really hard and this feels really heavy, but I'm making a choice, you know, to go find some happiness, to go find some joys, to go do something that will counteract the heaviness. The heaviness is going to be there, whether you're dealing with aging parents or friends that aren't super supportive or kids that are going through a hard time, or you know, you're not where you want to be, you're not in the right, you know, you're not in the house that you want, you don't have the job that you want, or all of the stuff, and going, okay, well, this is all pretty hard and heavy, but what can I do in this moment to make myself feel better? Can I go for a walk? Can I go for a run? It's all about choice. We each have a choice when we're faced with a crisis as to whether we go down or whether we go up, whether we take on board the lesson it's trying to teach us. You know, but if we're not prepared to examine anything other than what it is full front on, going, my kids got suspended from school, or, you know, my mum's in hospital, or, you know, the dog's just thrown up all over the rug in the lounge room, like, good Lord, how many more other things do you want me to face on one particular day? And you just go, okay, the things I've got to deal with. So, like David said, turn on the music or turn on a podcast that you know is going to give you some sort of semblance of a kick in the butt, and just keep going. You know, or if it gets to a point where you don't feel that you can, find a community, you know, reach out for some help, find a coach, find a mentor, find someone to have a conversation with. Well, you know what? Tune into us. Honestly, we would make you laugh. We'll make you, you know, have a think about your perspective, because both of us wear these perspective finders on our faces so that we get a different look at how you move through your life. And sometimes it just takes someone else to look at it and go, well, you could look at it this way, or have you thought about it like that, or have you thought about it from that person's perspective? Because we can become very self-centered if we're not given space to think about others, or we can forget ourselves and we become so overtly conscious of everyone else in our space that we put no time and effort and energy into us. And that's what causes the crisis, because your soul is trying to say, hey, what about me? You've forgotten about me. And I'm on a minus at the moment. So how about you take some time and to help me and nourish me, so then you can walk out and feel confident in your dealings at work, with your family, with your friends, just walking down the street with a smile on your face, but knowing, yeah, that was hard, but I've got it. You know, I can hold it. And, you know, if I couldn't hold it, it wouldn't have been given to me in the first place. You know, so.
But it's about accepting in that moment how you feel, and and that's tough to feel in that moment, and just say, this is hard, this is tough, but and if someone at that time, sometimes it feels, because I noticed that with people, and I think even Gabby talked about that, like one time her friend was really feeling low and was going on that rant, and she just said like, oh, you need to do this and this and this, and her friend told her to like shut up, you know, like, I'm not here to listen to what the universe has to say. I just need to let it out. I just need, and that's what you need in that moment, like that release. I just need to release it out. I don't need something positive. And sometimes that's what people don't understand. It's like, you have to release it. You have to find a way to release it. It's not only doing external thing, but by going internal and saying, okay, what's not working? If you want to write it down, if you want to talk to a friend that's willing to listen and to let you release it, then go for it. But you need to accept how it's going and how you feel. And that's what we tend to do whenever we are facing a crisis or of confidence or any crisis, is like we tend to go straight to find the solution, which is not wrong, but you got to accept how the crisis is. And that's what I think over the years I got to understand. Because coming from a background of psychology and counseling, it's like people come to you always seeking solution, but they are not willing to face whatever they are facing, like the fears, the doubt, the crisis, like we were talking about, and they are not willing to accept it. They want to change like instantly.
Mm.
Yes.
But if they have they accepted the fact that they've created the crisis?
No, no, of course not. And that's the hardest part to accept, that because based on the law of attraction, you attract whatever you deep down feel and you vibrate on, and that's your frequency. And that's what you question in that moment.
Yeah.
You go, really? That's what I'm attracting in my life? That's what my internal look, because your external shows you what you feel in the internal, right?
Yeah.
How you feel internal. And that's what you ask in that. I feel the deepest question that you ask is like, this is how I feel deep down. This is how it look within me. And that's where the crisis of confidence come. Because your ego will tell you it's based on external, but your spirit will tell you it's the within. And it's all about love. If you see it from, you were talking about the spectacles, like if we change our glasses and you see it through the spirit or the divine, or however you want to call it, through love and forgiveness, acceptance, and like we love to say, surrender and surrender more,
Patience.
patience, all of that, the words that Tina and I love, that we are being taught constantly.
Daily.
But it's all, and are we willing to see through those glasses or not? And in that moment, I will tell you, no, I'm not. I don't want to. And that's okay. Because in that moment, I'm allowed to feel how I am feeling. And I'm giving myself permission to feel that. And you have to give permission to feel it. Even if it's messy, it's ugly, it's icky, like, like muddy or whatever it is, feel it.
Yes, because the only way past it is through it.
Yeah. And I think Wayne Dyer said that is, to let go is to let God in. And even if you don't believe in God, because I got one client who says like God is like this one-man show. and I laugh at that, because it's like taking based on one religion only, and you think it's a one-man show, but it's not. It's around us. And for me, God is like the spirit, the divine, the universe. It's everything. We have it in everything, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
And if your religious belief is different, that's okay. But when you let go, it's you let God in. And I found that's a very profound, actually, statement. Like,
but it's easier to, like, we ask for these things, like, when we're confident, we are confident of asking for what our deepest desires are. But once you're confident in knowing that whatever is meant for you will come to you, then you can let go. You can keep doing what you need to do and let go, and knowing full well whatever is meant for you will come to you.
Yeah. It is. And like I recently, another video that I saw is like, whenever you ask the universe for courage, you're given situation to show you that you're courageous. Whenever you ask for faith, guess what? Your faith is going to get tested. it's not like given on a plate, it's not like, oh yeah, here is faith. Here you go, enjoy it. No, and I think in one of book of Kyle Gray, he talks about wings of forgiveness. He says, like, whenever he look at any god, like there's one specific god in Hinduism, which is considered to be like the remover of obstacle. And he's well known because of the elephant headed, and he's called Lord Ganesha. So he's well known across the world because he has the elephant face. So for Kyle Gray, he speak about Lord Ganesha when he went to India. He said, like, thank you. He says a prayer which I find it's really interesting, like, to come in this crisis of confidence. You can ask that. It's like you look at any one you believe in, and for him, he said, like, thank you, Lord Ganesha, for reminding me that you are here to remove the obstacle, that you are here to help me to overcome the obstacle. And the way he look at the divine is like, it's a reminder of who you truly are within you. It's that internal, like that love, that light, that courage that you're looking for, the faith that you're looking for. It's already within you. But you're given situation to remind you that, because maybe you forgot.
Yeah.
With the busyness of life.
Yeah.
And you tend to focus on other people, on other like shit, what's going on in the world, and you lose focus on you. And that's what we talked about last week as well when we were having our conversation, is that going back to you. Are you taking care of you? And it's again another C word. Are you having a positive conversation with yourself? What does your conversation look like in your head?
Mm-hmm.
And like Tina said, the Karen within her head.
Oh, yes. Karen's quite noisy at times, and other times not so noisy, which is nice. But it's, it's the whole topic of the podcast, right? In terms of the mess. We're each given a human mess. When we arrive, we're delivered into the messiness that life can be, and that's where we need to turn to the divinity of prayer, the divinity within ourselves, the divinity that we see within others, to help us understand that the mess is there to help us extricate our life lessons and to extricate our soul's purpose. That's solely what it's here for. We're given this great big bowl of soup, and our divinity is our life raft, but it's your choice as to whether you latch on to the life raft or not. But I can't remember if it was you that said to me about when we each do work on ourselves, we do it for the betterment of everybody in the collective. So as I am learning to deal with crisis and to feel more confident, when I start to feel that, the collective feels that. And, because it's like this intricate set of wires that connects, it's so strange when you go, oh, that person, and we are all connected, whether you can see it or not. It's like the miraculousness of the internet. Can't see it. We know it's there because I'm talking to you and you're not in the next room. You're across the other side of the world. We know it works. So I think that's what we have to understand about the collective, is that we can't see it, but it's there, and it connects us all, like the internet connects us all and gives us social media and all the good fun jazz that comes from that. So knowing that you are plugged in should give you a level of confidence, should know that if you're vibrating at a certain level, it's like when the spider makes her web, and something gets stuck in it, it causes a certain vibration that either she goes, oh, I want to deal with that today, or no, I don't. So I think that, when we get these certain vibrations of things that come into our lives, we go, well, yeah, I want to deal with that, or no, I don't. So it's your choice to look, and the more we choose to look and have a better understanding of ourselves and the people that surround us and what they're here to teach us or what they're here to mirror to us about ourselves and how far we've gone down in our level of self-development and how much it takes for our inner 10-year-old to come out and crack it and want to throw punches and hurt people, or whether we want to sit in the corner and stick our thumb in our mouth and go, everything sucks and I don't like my life. And well, okay, if you don't like it or you want to punch people in the face, how can we change it? What do we need to do? What's the one thing that we can do to enact change? And the one thing you can do is look at the person that's staring you in the mirror. And I think it needs to be really simple, like, I love you. I think you're amazing. You've got this. And everything will be okay. Even if you're traversing really, really hard stuff. I love you. You've got this. It'll be okay. And breathe. And just breathe. Because if you're breathing, you're still here. And it gets to be that simple. We often overcomplicate things. And if we just bring it back to the simplicity of breathing and loving ourselves as best as we know how in any given moment, I think, and that's the key to it, as best as you know how to use the tools that you have available to you at any given moment. And if you don't know of any, Google is a good thing.
YouTube as well.
YouTube is a good thing, right? Use these things for a force of good rather than a book of comparison. Use it for how can I make myself better today than I was yesterday. It's just a step up every single day. We can just step that one more step and be one step better than we were yesterday, and take everything that we learnt from yesterday and apply it today. I think that's the biggest problem that we see in our industry, is we have these information junkies that come in and they want to suck in all this knowledge, but they do nothing with it. They don't integrate it into their lives. They don't embody the information. They don't make effective change. They just go looking for the hottest and next best thing that they think is going to be the solution, as David was saying, to their problem. And the thing is that they don't understand they are the solution to their own problem. And going and seeking and reaching out for all these different branches and all these really sexy programs and books and all the rest of it, gaining the information and gathering that information is really important. But if you don't apply it, you might as well set it on fire in the middle of your lounge room, because it's about as useful as it is for you, is creating a space of warmth for you to, nourish yourself by. Because if you're not making change, there's no point. And all of us within this community have been guilty of that, because we've doubted our light, we've doubted our gifts, we've doubted our ability to be of service to other people. So we see it because we've seen it within ourselves. So if we can tell you one thing, don't be quick to hop to the next best thing. Have a look at what you've read. What are the 3 greatest things that you can take away from it? And how can you add that into your life. Don't go seeking the next best thing until you can definitely say, you know what, I've added that habit in, or I've added that practice in, or, you know, I'm meditating for at least 5 or 10 minutes a day, or I'm journaling for 5 minutes a day, or I'm journaling until I've got nothing else to say. Whatever your thing is, do that before you go seeking more information, because you have it within you. You really do. But if you feel that you can't see it for yourself, I think that's when people like Dava and myself come into play. Because we don't have all of your conditioning and your filters and your whiz bang, you know, life traumas and all the suitcases that you carry with you. We don't see that. We purely see your divinity. That's all we see. So we endeavor to help you see that as well. So I think you've got a couple of aspects. You can create confidence by just saying it's okay, you've got it. You can create confidence by taking some information on board, but ensuring that you are embodying that information to the best of your ability. And you can also have confidence by having someone who's there as a cheerleader for you, whether they be a mentor or a coach or a community of people. But we always have to be mindful of the communities of people that we join, that, you know, as much as they say they're spiritual seekers and they are for love and light, sometimes not so much. And it becomes quite evident at times that they're not. So I think that would be the 3 biggest takeaways for me is love the person that stares at you in the mirror, because it's the longest relationship you're ever going to have with anybody. Be cautious of the level of information that you take on board. Don't try and take on too much. And if you need help, seek it. That for me is kind of my takeaways from it.
It's true.
This week.
And I feel that it's important. It's a good reminder that you say 3 takeaways. I would like to add to that is like, what is the one thing you can do today from those 3 takeaways? Like, what is the one thing? Ask yourself that.
Yeah.
Even if it's just turning on, like you said, your favorite podcast, even if it's going out with your friend maybe, or on your own.
Coffee. There's another C word.
Or you're going for like your favorite food, like favorite restaurant, something that one thing that you can do today for you to help you to shift. And if you're willing to shift as well. But I feel that after listening to this episode and any other episode, I feel that you will have that desire, like, yeah, I can do one thing. I can do one thing. Because over the 17 episode, I feel that we have given plenty of tools that you can use anytime and become really practical and easy. It's not taking like hours. It's not like our run, you know, Tina. It's not like a run, but it's...
No, it is. It could be though.
It could be, but it can be like just standing in front of the mirror and like you said, just saying, you got this, I love you, and looking how hard it is. Maybe it's just saying, you got this. You can go through it. And if you still don't believe it, make as if someone that you believe in that moment is talking to you. And for example, just imagine this just came through, like you're invited on with Oprah, right? And she's asking you, what is your favorite tool, like to shift? How do you get through messy times? What would you say? Would you say, I don't know? I'm pretty sure you will find a way, like you will know in that moment what to say. and you will teach people in that moment how you shift, and that can resonate with someone. And our hope is that any of the tools that we mentioned can resonate with someone, like, and it's going to make their life better and navigate through their messy life, like the divine mess, like we call it, and to accept the messiness of it and
And find the joy in the mess, right?
and find the joy, find the little joy and enjoy it, even if it seems calm and it's scary that it's calm and it's looking way too peaceful at times. But it's about enjoying those moments.
Yep. And I think it's also my final C word out of all of it is consistency. We need to be consistent in how we care for ourselves, how we speak to ourselves, how we nourish ourselves, you know, what we consume. There's got to be a level of consistency in everything, because that's how the habits get ingrained. That's how we make the pathways in our brain to know that these are all the tools that make us feel like the best versions of ourselves.
Yep. And that's how we are conditioned. Another C word. There's a lot of C word we use today, I feel.
We did. I think we ran a decent gamut out of the dictionary today.
Yes. Yeah, and I think it's we are going to close on the C series soon, pretty soon.
Fantastic.
But it's I feel that there's a lot of nuggets again in this episode as well, even because whatever we discussed today, we shared today, is authentic. So whatever we went through, there's no hiding. Like, we're not hiding and saying, oh, we are feeling all good, we are feeling all great. We are
feeling
honest
sexy and sensational and all the rest of it. And it's just,
And that's what I appreciate about it.
Yeah.
Being raw and authentic. There's no hiding.
And we're not edited, and we're not this. Honestly, this is us. This is how you get us, whether you get us in person, whether you get us online, whether you get us on the telephone, whether you get us in the podcast. This is the standard and consistency of us as souls on this human journey. We are no different. So what you see, ladies and gents, or what you hear is what you get. So if you like our level of authenticity and our level of care and consideration and genuine love for the people that we work with, then come look us up. Come find us. The Heroes Mystic, Dharmas and Co. We are not difficult to find. And you'll see that it's all exactly the same.
Yeah. And I think on that note, we shall close this episode.
We shall close and say...
But it has been a good reminder. And I was telling you that in our conversation last time, that the podcast always bring reminders, and it's reminding who we truly are and what we are doing is right. It feels right. It feels good. Yeah. Really good.
Yes. And to all of you who have tuned in today, we love you. Thank you for your most important, valuable thing, which is your time. And we look forward to episode 18 next week. But until then, go out and find some joy, just a little bit. And we look forward to hearing what that was. But until next week, we will say au revoir and goodbye, and go be fantastic.
Thank you so much, and have a good week ahead.